Joe Biden is not campaigning on the Green New Deal by name. That term has become linked to the idea of overreaching left-wing politics that are turned off to even many Democratic voters. But Joe Biden has embraced several sustainable infrastructure, clean energy type policies that could have a big impact on companies and their stocks. He's planning a $2 trillion accelerated investment in things like pollution-free electricity, upgrading millions of buildings and houses with more weather-efficient windows and appliances, expanding infrastructure like roads and water and electric and broadband. Clearly, a ton of industries could be affected. Today on Dumb Money Live, we're going to sort through it all and share how we plan to cash in on a Joe Biden presidency and reveal our $1 million green investment. This is Dumb Money Live with Chris Camillo, Dave Hansen, and Jordan McLean. Streaming live on YouTube. We are Dumb Money. Hey there, Dave here along with Chris and Jordan. This is Dumb Money Live. Are you guys ready to put your money where your mouth is? This is, when you say $1 million investment, we really have to spend $1 million today.
Yes, we do. We need to commit $1 million towards green trades. And the way I'm thinking about this, guys, is, maybe 5% of my portfolio, right? 5% of my portfolio, I really want to make sure at least that much is invested in green trades pre-election. And you know what? If it looks like we're going to have a runaway election for Trump, I might scale that back. But as long as I think there's a possibility of Biden winning the election, whether or not the Democrats take over the state, that is enough of a factor, a game changer, quite honestly, for these green stocks that I need to position at least 5% of my account in this type of a portfolio, just to arb the probability of Biden getting in office, because it truly is a game changer if it happens.
And we've talked about various parts of his platform, the winning and losing industries related to those. But today we're really going to hone in on specific green stocks that could take off if Biden becomes president. And I do want to say you can't talk green electricity without talking Tesla. So coming up, we are going to dive into the data behind Tesla's Battery Day. That's about 3 weeks away, what people are saying online, how we're planning to trade it. But first, it's all about the other green companies, green buildings, renewable energy, that sort of thing.
Yeah, guys, I don't think there's a bigger Biden trade than green. I mean, we talked about the housing trade. There are a bunch of things going on with Biden that you could invest in, but nothing even touches this trade. This is it. This is all my focus for the Biden trade. This is it right here. And I had a lot of fun researching this trade over the past week. The last time I made a mega green trade back in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, I got slaughtered on it. I invested in a ETF called TAN, T-A-N, which is essentially in aggregate combination of all the solar stocks, right? And I was so pro into solar. I think I saw a show that talked about how like a 23% increase in efficiency for solar would radically change the entire energy industry. And it was just a matter of when, not if, that would happen. And I bought that ETF. And this is when my account was probably, I don't know, thousands of dollars to maybe tens of thousands at the most. And I just got slaughtered. I think I lost 70, 80, 90% on that trade. And I haven't looked back since. But I'm ready. I'm ready to get back into green.
Well, hey, and the biggest problem with why that didn't go well, right, is that the battery technology wasn't there. So there wasn't a way to store all of that energy that was being produced. So you weren't really able to take advantage of all that energy, and now you can, right? And I think that's a big difference. And so we've actually set ourselves up. The technology's here, and if we have somebody in the office that's going to, kind of push this stuff forward, then maybe you'll make up that money.
And Jordan, you know what I love about this trade the most is that a lot of these sectors are already moving and grooving, and even without a Biden presidency, I don't think you necessarily get slaughtered on a Biden. Now, some of these stocks have definitely run up, but they still have momentum. They still have tailwinds, even in a Trump presidency. So I like it. You kind of, maybe you don't win on a Biden loss with these stocks, but you don't lose nearly as much as you win, right? If Biden does win here on these
so
trades.
There's basically three areas where I was focusing my research: houses and more efficient, energy efficient houses, more efficient energy itself, the kind of wind power and alternate clean energy sources, and then automobiles, right?
How about enterprise, Dave? How about, that's probably the area I spent most of my time on, was kind of these companies that are helping enterprise companies become more efficient. Because a lot of let's talk about the Green New Deal, right? But what Biden's doing, what Biden has basically come out and said is he has now embraced the Green New Deal minus the crazy, right? So and hey, listen, I don't want to get political. Some people think what Biden wants to do is crazy, but it's less crazy than the Green New Deal that AOC.
He basically is
OAC. AOC is probably.
He's taken the parts that are the least controversial and said, okay, I'm in with those. He's stricken the ones that are most controversial and say we're not going to mention those. And there's this kind of just overall feeling that it's a more palatable version of the Green New Deal.
What I like to think of is that some things are realistic, right? And so if you start, you have to start somewhere. And so it's good to have some of these high lofty goals and have somebody, maybe it's good to have somebody like AOC that has this big dream, right? But then you bake it down, you figure out what's achievable, what can we actually do, and then he's put together a plan. And I think that's a good way to go about it.
Let's dive into some stock names. What have you guys found? What are you most interested in?
Okay, I want to start with, I was just looking for the quote. I can't find it. Maybe you guys can. But Biden had a quote on wind when he came out with his $2 trillion plan. That's $2 trillion plan over 4 years, right, to support green initiatives. But he's a big, big fan of wind energy. He was talking about how Trump sees wind as, windmills as something that can cause cancer. He looks at a windmill and he broke it down to the people that are making the steel, right, for the windmill. He's talking about all the various components that go into it, all the labor, the unions, right, all this stuff. And he really goes on and on about wind. Maybe not as much as he goes on about trains, and we'll talk about that later. Yes. But he really does love the wind. So I spent a bunch of time researching companies that are in that sector, and the one that I like the most that I'm going to purchase on this show today is a company called Next Era Energy. And by the way, we're going to talk about a lot of stocks that we're purchasing. Just remember, guys, we're not financial advisors, so we don't know your risk tolerance. Don't do what we do. This is just about the process and learning and maybe a little entertainment. But Next Era Energy, the reason why I like these guys is they are kind of part regulated energy company, right, in Florida. So they operate in Florida as a regulated energy company, and that's just kind of cash flow where the government says, hey, you can only make this return on your money, and the return is, I think it's 10% return on your money. But they are one of the largest producers of wind energy all around the country. So they're putting up these huge, huge windmills. Listen, I am not a mega fan of wind. I prefer solar personally, but Biden loves wind, okay? And the bottom line is if Biden wins especially, there is going to be so much money and incentives thrown into both solar and wind. And Jordan, I think you know this space pretty well.
Yeah, I mean,
there's less competition in wind because there's more higher barriers to entry, right? Higher barriers to entry to become a mega producer of wind energy than there is solar. And these guys, they've cracked it. They are bleeding edge.
Yeah, look, it's not just that though. I think you're selling them short. I mean, they're the second largest. They've got the second largest battery installation too, right? Which helps kind of offset some of those peak and troughs of energy production that you have with wind and with really any of the renewables, which is a huge problem, right? And so you've got, look, I mean, they're not messing around, right? So they've got solar and they've got nuclear, which I think nuclear gets a bad rap, but it is a cleaner version of electricity than coal or natural gas power plants too. So I think there's a lot to like there, and I will actually probably buy them as well.
NextEra Energy, also on my list of things I'm going to buy. And I had,
Yep.
I was not very familiar with them until I started doing the research, but they're a huge company, $137 billion market cap. That's like some of these companies we're looking at. Like I was looking at one that's a geothermal company. It's like a $2 or $3 billion valuation, small, billion. Nothing. Everything costs more than $1 billion these days. But this is legit, a legit company, right? And so they're definitely on my list.
I just bought 500 shares, Dave.
What's that?
500 shares, 140. I just bought 500 shares, $140,000. So
that's a small trade.
Yeah. At some point, I can't just keep buying $500,000 of this and that and that and that. I mean, it's like I'm already $6 million. I'm like $6 million on margin right now, I think, or more.
So another one that you sent me over the weekend, Chris, was a company that makes the blades for wind power, TPI Composites, which they've already had a huge run up, but that's definitely one that I'm considering. What are your thoughts on it?
Dude, I love this company so much. And let me say why I love this company. So yes, they make ultra-light, ultra-strong composite materials that are used in this kind of, what do they call them, windmill? I mean, like, I call them like old school windmills. Like, what do you call these things?
They're wind turbines.
Wind turbine, not a windmill. That make the wind turbines, right? But what I love about this company is you get like a bonus, which is now they're starting to use these materials in electric vehicles, right? Because electric vehicles, it's also extraordinarily important to have strong, light materials. So yeah, they kind of got their start, or a lot of their growth these last few years with wind turbines. But the EV space, like this is going to become a leader in, I think, composite materials for EV, which I don't think a lot of people
vehicles too. If you think about it, have you seen the GMC pickup truck actually uses a car like some sort of composite material in their bed now to save weight, and it's stronger.
Dude, so think about this, Jordan. All these incentives that are going to come into the administration or be put on from the administration if Biden wins is all going to be about reducing your energy, right? Your energy input. So a lot of that can be controlled. Some of it can't be controlled. Some of it you're just waiting on tech. But no matter what type of energy source you're using, strong light materials are going to help. If anything that's moving, right? Anything that's movable, right? Whether it's a car, a wind turbine. So this is like to me, this company is the name behind the names that maybe doesn't get as much hype on the front end like Tesla. But for all I know, at some point Tesla can be using their components. I didn't do enough research to see if they were or weren't right at this moment. But it's not just about Tesla, right? In 5 years, 10 years, there will be just enormous number, as we've already seen, an enormous number of EV companies, and this will be one of the primary suppliers of composite parts. So I absolutely love TPI Composites. I'm logging back into my account. I'm going to buy some TPI.
Trading real time.
Yeah, I told you, I'm doing this. I'm going to get 5,000 shares. 150,000. Well, I feel like there's a little bit of a spread there. Let me try to put it right there.
When it comes to like the other areas like green buildings, are you looking at anything like Trane and their incentives to replace your air conditioning? Are you looking into window companies, Geldwin, Pure Play window door company?
So, I mean, I think that's a really good question. Yeah, Jordan, do you have any? Because I have one that it's like my primary, it's like my number one pick here. It's like my most exciting pick, but I want to make sure.
No, I stuck more to the battery side, and I've got a company that I've been looking at that I'll talk about in a minute.
We are going to be talking about Tesla Battery Day coming up in just a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you see, this is the problem, guys. I feel like I should probably buy this right before I say it on the show because
front running yourself. No, you're a small time trader.
I think the people watching our show are front running me. I think that's what's happening. Stop front running me on these trades, or I won't talk about them before I trade them, guys. Do not post me trading my trade. Listen, I'm done. I'm not raising my bid anymore. I'm not raising it. I got 2,000 almost of the 5,000 shares, and I'll just let it sit there for the rest
Was that
of
of
the day.
TPI?
Yeah, TPI. Are you front running me, Dave?
No. It's actually gone down since. What is this? A 5-day chart? Yeah, our 1-day chart is a little bit lower, so you should be able to get it a little bit. I would think your $30.20 trade would go through eventually.
Okay, so here we go. No, I raise it. You know what? Out of spite now, I'm going to lower my bid because I just don't think that's fair. I'm going to look at how they took that up. I'm going to lower it back to 30.22, and it's either going to get filled or it's not. And if not, I'll come back tomorrow and fill it tomorrow. Okay, so now I'm really worried because this next one is a small company too. I might not even buy them right now. I might wait later in the day after people get done trying to front run me. So oh, by the way, we'll talk about EV companies in general later, but I found this company let's talk about corporate. Okay. So basically the Biden administration, as part of the Green New Deal, is going to incentivize enterprise companies to dramatically lower their emissions, right? So, and they're already kind of starting to do that. Like the big ones, the bleeding edge brands are saying, hey, we're going to have zero kind of a net neutral carbon footprint, right? And doing that is really difficult. There's a company, but when I started researching these companies, all the companies that are in that space are just really big monsters, and they're so diversified across so many different industries, like Siemens, Jordan, right? Like these companies are just huge. And they're doing so many different things, and a lot of them actually have a lot of exposure to like the coal industry still, and a lot of the old school industries. So I couldn't quite figure out the degree to which they would really have a big advantage here in the short run versus maybe getting hit because they're involved in coal, which might get penalized. So I was looking for a smaller company, okay, not a small cap, but maybe like a small to mid cap company that I thought could really accelerate in this type of a situation. And I found a company called Ameresco. Okay, the ticker symbol is AMRC. So this company is really cool. I think it's like $1.5 billion market cap. They do what's called energy performance contracts. So what that means is they go to government, they go to the education industry, they go to corporate enterprise, they go to military, really anyone in the enterprise space. And they say, we are going to figure out how to lower your cost of energy through whatever means we have to go through, right? We might build a thermo plant, right? A geothermal plant right next to you because you're next to a heat source. We might install solar. We might redo your electrical wiring. You know, we might put in new converter boxes. We might put LED lights across your entire manufacturing facility. There could be hundreds of things that they're going to do, but we are going to dramatically decrease your carbon footprint while at the same time lowering your energy costs. Now, so part of it's lowering your energy costs. Part of it is just decreasing your footprint to take advantage of government regulations and government incentives. And what's really fascinating is I found the 2006 note in, it was like a amateur analyst report where it said Ameresco's growth has been tied to various government incentives, progress designed to goose adoption of these measures. Okay, like retrofitting LED lighting, upgrading boilers.
That's a press release.
It was kind of an amateur report. It's irrelevant. I'm just trying to tell you. If you move back 4 years, this is the type of thing that accelerated this company's growth. And the last 4 years, they've been dealing with the Trump administration that really hadn't had those type of incentives. Okay, so when you have that incentive base, this company goes in there and goes, "Hey, look at the new incentive base that the government just put into action. We'll do everything for you. We will figure out how to maximize the government incentive for your manufacturing facility. And here's the deal. We get to split the gains with you. So if we save you $4 million a year on energy and we get you $10 million from the government because of what we did, you know, you get 60%, we get 40%. I don't know what the exact split is. So it's a performance-based model, which I just think is the coolest thing in the world. and they've been having a lot of success with it. They've been growing over the past few years, but that is it under a Trump administration. Now, just imagine when we have $2 trillion, right, allocated to green and new incentives potentially coming out to just incentivize these companies to do whatever it takes to save money. They're going into a company, guys, and not saying give us money. They're saying let us save you money, and we'll just take part of what we save you. You guys don't have to do a thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to do a thing. So I love what they're doing. I want to. They have, and the most interesting piece of what they do is, unlike Siemens and like Honeywell, they're platform agnostic. Okay, so they're not going in there trying to sell just a bunch of hardware, just a bunch of their branded equipment. They're totally platform agnostic. So they don't have to be reliant upon, oh, we have to build a manufacturing facility, right? Or we can only put out this many pieces of equipment to keep up with our demand. They can pull equipment from anyone in the space, right? So they're really agile, really light. And I think a company like that is the most likely to accelerate growth in something game-changing that could happen with an administration turnover to green. So that's kind of my big pick for the day, for me at least.
That's one that wasn't even on my list, but it is now on my list, and I will definitely be doing more research into that. That's I love that concept of incentive. Anytime you get paid for incentivizing the right thing, seems like a winner, right?
All right, so my pick is AES. So they own, so basically AES owns a bunch of like power utility companies. They do a lot of solar installation now because they're trying to go carbon neutral as much as they can. They've got wind generation, but they did a joint partnership with, as you mentioned, Siemens, called Fluence, which is a company that they now own half of. Siemens owns the other half, and they are the largest battery deployer, right? So they've put out something like 250 megawatts of batteries that are installed next to either solar arrays or wind farms, or they put them next to industrial buildings. The reason that I like AES so much, and if you look at their PE, maybe they're a little bit expensive, but they're old school. They were started in the 80s by a couple of guys that were in energy in the Nixon administration, and so they have contacts into pretty much any energy source that you'd want, right? And so any big industrial complex that's looking to get energy, AES is who they're going to go to. And I think the government would be, more willing to work with somebody that they've worked with for the past 4 decades. And so I like AES just because they're kind of instilled in that whole area right now, and they're the leader.
Jordan, you sent that to us, and the one thing I noticed in my research on AES I want to ask you about is they still have an arm in coal. So do you think that getting penalized on the coal piece of what they do, like how do you balance it out in your head in terms of, I know you're looking at the positive side in this change, but like how does that work?
So I'm not bothered by things like that. Look, I mean, they're a utility company, so they're dependent on coal right now, but they're going to be, just because they've got so much exposure to all utilities, that they'll be on the forefront of any of these new technologies. So as these new technologies come out, they're going to take advantage of them, and they're enabling this technology. So they're creating battery tech right alongside Siemens to be able to run some of their installations better.
Gotcha. So you think
as well as not just utilizing them for their own utilities, right, which might be like a cost-saving benefit, but they're also then utilizing that technology to sell off and let other people take advantage of as well.
Okay, so I will say this: Biden's not the type. Listen, I think there are some parts of the Democratic company that would come in and actually penalize heavily the coal industry. I don't necessarily see Biden doing that as much as I see
it's one
him
of those things, like you're not gonna get rid of it all at once, right? And so why hurt people? But you can look at AES's track record and look at what they've done over the past decade as far as like trying to switch to renewables, and they're making progress, right? And I think they should be rewarded for that.
All right,
because they are one of these incumbents.
I'm rewarding you for the fine. I got a couple thousand shares of AES right now, and I also bought
and I've
5,000
owned AES for
shares.
like 6 months now. So
you've been in them for a while?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, you never told us that. But all right, so I've also got 5,000 shares, guys, which are like 170,000 of AMRC, the company I was talking about, Amoresco.
Amaretto.
So yeah, man, I get that. I mean, I don't want to have a big position in kind of utility, even if they are utilities that's moving over to kind of green, but I get it, and I see AES being a beneficiary here, so I'm in. I got my TPI, I got my Next Error, my NEE.
I'm going to look more into TPI. I'm definitely buying Next Era, the NEE stock. And my real play, as always, is Tesla, right? That's the future. So
Tesla actually makes a battery that competes with AES's and with Next Era's, or what is it, Next?
But Jordan, before I know we want to talk about Tesla. Before we get to Tesla, I think we have to touch on one last thing, two last things. One, solar. Solar is such a big part of this whole thing, right? And I did spend a lot of time researching solar. And the issue with solar is a lot of these solar contractors, and there's so many of these solar companies. Look at what Tesla just did. They just brought down the cost of having solar installed and are essentially starting a price war. And solar is up big over the past couple months, right? So I'm a little bit nervous making a big bet on solar with a potential price war. But I think if you're going to invest in solar, for me, the easiest way to do it, if it looks like Biden has a lock on the election, I don't care about a price war. You have to be in solar, right? So I am going to get back into the TAN for the first time in 18 years. TAN is the solar ETF. There are other solar companies. Jordan, I don't know if you know about these, but like Enphase seems to be the leader in microinverters. So Enphase is a solar company I might actually buy some individual shares in, although there are some fraud allegations. So I don't want to get too deep into one of these individual solar companies, but I do want to pick one, and it probably will be Enphase, and then I'll have some positioning in the TAN solar ETF. I can't not be in solar if Biden takes over, right? I have to have some exposure there as well. And railroads.
And railroads. Footnote,
railroads.
I still think solar's been around for so long, and it's not really done anything. I think all the value there is in the batteries, right?
For railroads?
No, I'm talking solar still.
Okay, agreed. But don't you think the perception of solar will move, even if just for a trade going into the election? Just the perception. Look at what solar did back in the mid-2000s. That ETF was at $250 a share. It was like
I'm talking if you want it to not be a trade, if you want it to be an investment, then I think batteries are the better investment.
I would generally agree with you, and I will take a small trade. Just so you know, I'm taking a small trade in the railroads if I think that momentum starts to move in Railroad Joe's way or Amtrak Joe's way. You cannot invest in Amtrak; it's not publicly traded. It's a government company.
But are you investing in a railroad through an ETF, or are you picking a?
What is BNSF? Are they public?
Man, I don't know. Kansas City Southern. You have CSX, Union Pacific, Canadian. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, does it really matter? Just pick a railroad, and they're all going to move probably the same percentage, more or less, on a Biden swing. This is not a real trade. This is a perception trade. If I feel momentum is going in the way of Joe Biden, I must be in railroads. I must be in solar. It has to happen, right? Because and by the way, they are more efficient. Railroads are a more efficient way to get goods from point A to point B than trucking right now, until we get electrified trucking and all that great stuff. And by the way, we should be up before Tesla, Dave. You got to invest in companies like Workhorse, right, that are electrifying delivery vans and trucks, because incentives are going to come that way, right, for enterprise delivery. It's already happening, but could you imagine how much bigger they'll get in a Biden presidency? And if he wins the Senate, how big they'll get? So I just feel like you got to have exposure there. I'm already in Workhorse, though. So
I was trying to find a rail ETF. I don't know one off the top of my head. I figured RAIL would be the ticker that someone would have had, but it's apparently Freight Car America has not done so well since 2016.
Ooh,
but
guys,
if you want to play the ticker symbol
though, it's going to be a
game.
It will be a trade that, like the steel trade, that probably doesn't pan out. So it's not a trade I'm going to stay in for more than like a week or two post election, but or maybe a month at the most. But it is a trade I want to be in if I feel. Listen, you have to prepare your mind to run the scenarios, and if Biden gets all of a sudden a ton of momentum going into this election, these are the stocks that I just want to have into that momentum.
Yeah, for sure. Now, can we talk about Battery Day? I've been dying to talk about Battery Day.
Fine.
Okay. It is coming up September 22nd. It's actually happening right after their annual stockholders meeting. They're going to live stream the whole thing. I am super excited. It's one of those things that I will watch, just like I watched his Neuralink thing. I didn't watch the whole thing live, but there was a 15-minute recap I retweeted the other day. You should watch that 15-minute recap of Neuralink. But there's a ton of stuff expected from Battery Day, just all the details about their current and future battery technology. We've seen Elon on Twitter talking about what we could expect. I have a new little Twitter graphic here. He basically says that there's a possibility that they've got 50% more energy density than they currently have, up to 400 watt hours per kilogram, with high life cycle, produced in volume, not just in a lab, probably 3 to 4 years out. That would be revolutionary. That is, when you hear people talking about the move to perhaps an electrified airplane, not until you reach these kind of energy per mass kind of things does that become even possible. So I don't think they'll be announcing that, but they will be talking about, I think, giving a tour of their production facilities in June. He mentioned that they would be doing that. We're going to see lower cost manufacturing, breakthroughs in the scale and capacity. We know that their power walls are out of stock. They're basically, you can't, even the people installing them can't get any, and they're told they're not getting any until 2021, which means they have to have some major announcement that they're going to announce for the home Powerwall batteries. They've acquired several companies. What are you guys looking forward to in this?
Well, honestly, like the hype is so big, guys. Like, can we pull up a Google Trends chart for just Battery Day and like a 5-year chart?
Yes.
Because this thing, they've done this before. I mean, this is not like the first Battery Day, right? But
look at the hype,
man.
And they had to push Battery Day back. Originally, this spike here, June 7th through 13th, that hit an 100%, and now that's been dropped to 75 because of this new insane spike.
Yeah,
everybody wants to know what
is
going to be the future of battery tech, and everybody's looking to Tesla for that answer.
The hype is beyond big right now, so we need a huge Battery Day to keep this stock moving in the right direction. I personally think that Elon would not have Battery Day multiple times unless he had something big to announce. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it'll be hyped, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be just a flat Battery Day. If it is, we could be in trouble as owners of Tesla.
No, and I think that there's so many expectations out there. The kind of the 1,000,000-mile lifespan battery is kind of at this point expected to be announced. So how do you beat that? I mean, you're not going to hit 2 million, but is it 1.1 million?
Well,
is that an exciting thing?
And Chris sent us the article, so I mean he could talk about it more, but I think manufacturing could be a bigger deal, letting them pump out more batteries in a given amount of time. I think that could be a bigger deal, right? Because then they could produce more cars, they could produce more power walls that may or may not be more energy efficient, but they'll definitely be more cost efficient. So if they can do that, I think that's instant revenue.
Well, and there's talk also of producing batteries that have reduced use of cobalt, which is, that's an expensive material. There's a lot of like child labor linked to the mining of it in the Congo. If they released a cobalt-free battery, that would be big news, I think. I think if they talk about, their vehicles can go 400 miles now. If they came out with a 600-mile range for across the Tesla line. If they came out with these batteries are cheaper to produce, if we're now announcing lower car prices. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be announced.
That's where I think I don't have a problem with where they are with their range. I think their range is actually incredible, right? I don't think you need more range. Sure, I mean, it might be nice. I don't know why you wouldn't do more range, but I think it's all production. Because we know they've bought two companies. They bought Highbar, they bought Maxwell, and those are both kind of production tech, right? And so those types of things lead me to believe that they're going to become a bigger battery manufacturer and start. I mean, they're still expanding what they're doing with with Panasonic, but at the same time, they could then ramp up their own production, have two ways to get batteries, because we know that's their biggest roadblock right now, is just being able to produce enough batteries to build cars.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jordan. That's, as an investor, that should be the most important thing in your mind, is if they're able to actually lower the cost and increase production, that is going to move the needle for this company more than anything else. Any splashy thing like, hey, we have batteries for airplanes. I mean, I don't think I don't think they're there yet. I think there's so much hype around this, and that's my concern, is will people be disappointed when they don't announce that they're prepared to start delivering batteries to airplane manufacturers that will allow electrified airplanes, right? I mean,
I don't think they're going to announce that.
I think that's the wrong expectation, right? I think if you're coming in and you're thinking that we're going to shove a bunch of batteries in wings and then have airplanes using batteries, I don't think the energy density is there yet, but you've got to be able to justify this share price, right? And the share price needs revenue growth. And how do you get revenue growth? You get those margins up from 20%, which they're at right now, back up to 30%, which is what they were like 4 years ago. And you do that through manufacturing. And we've seen that they've made these acquisitions in the manufacturing space. That's what would get me excited as an investor.
And Elon has been obsessed with improving the manufacturing process for the vehicles themselves. Now, he's focused as much on battery efficiency, being able to produce these things at scale, at a lower cost, with higher capacity, more density. I think that's really what we're going to see. Is we're going to see what the next wave of battery capacity is going to look like, and kind of a projection for the future of what does that curve look like? Are we doubling battery capacity per gram every 3 years, every 2 years, every month? Like what are they going to be able to do? And that's the future of the entire company, I think.
Yeah, but really what actually matters is what will be announced relative to expectations of the hype, right? I mean, I think they're going to probably announce their new car on Battery Day, like that goes against the Porsche, right? And it's I just don't think that's a needle mover necessarily at this point. I think the hype is really big. I'm honestly at odds with Battery Day. I know I want to own the stock going into Battery Day. I don't know whether or not I want to hedge it coming out of Battery Day or not, right? Like that day before. This is one I would love to say I have a strong mindset here. The strongest mindset I have is I want to stay long into Battery Day, right? And I could see myself, I always get screwed when I do this.
Do you think you would actually consider selling Tesla at some point in the near future?
No, I was going to say selling calls for Battery Day. Because the option premium is going to be so high going into Battery Day. Would I potentially sell calls on my stock just for Battery Day, and kind of, if we have a flat Tesla after Battery Day, kind of just buy them back, right? That's something I could actually see myself doing. I don't know, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be a bad day. I don't think he's going to disappoint. There just might not be anything that's going to blow our mind on Battery Day, right? That's my issue.
And Jordan, the live chat wants to know: do you own any Tesla at this point?
No, you kidding me? The share price, 0% chance.
At the share price. Oh.
No,
my gosh.
Market cap. Let's put it that way. At this market cap, no.
So here's the thing,
and if I did own it, I would be selling today, because great move on Tesla today, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, why sell it? So I want to. Speaking of that, guys, I read it. It was on a tweet thread this weekend about Tesla, and it was a theory. Let me see if I can find this. I did not send it to you, Dave. It's a theory that there is a pump and dumper in China. There's a guy on not WhatsApp. What's the Chinese communications platform?
WeChat.
Not wait, chat? No, Weibo. I have it right here. So there's a guy on Weibo that has 10 million followers in China, and he has been pumping. He's been pumping Tesla stock. And China doesn't really have the type of laws that we have related to pump and dump. I had this, now I don't have the guy's account. I want to give the guy's account here.
I've heard variations of this, Chris. I think you're onto something, yeah.
So basically, I started following it, and I was pulling his, Weibo messages and Google translating them. And it's fascinating because the thesis is that, 10 million Chinese investors, some of them really affluent, and he has been pumping Tesla. So I don't know. Is it a pump and dump? I don't think it is, but certainly there are a lot of different things, right, that are contributing to this move. There's not one thing, right? It's not just the pump. It's not just this guy out of China. It's not just Robinhood. It's not just this or that. Everything's moving in Tesla's way right now. And the one other thing that I think is going to potentially move in Tesla's way is if we have a major change in the administration. If you have a Biden presidency, there's no way you can look at that, guys, and say that's not a huge, mega win for Tesla, right? The auto credits, assuming that they can pull this off with a Republican Senate, or if the Democrats win the Senate, forget about it. It's game over at that point, right? It's game over for auto credits.
Well, it's the auto credits, but also, if they're able, like I said, with this battery day thing, if they're able to actually produce some of these industrial scale batteries, which they do have a product, right? They've got an industrial scale product. I think they've got installed like 60 to 80 megawatts, somewhere in that range, so far at like solar facilities. That could be another way that they make money.
Yeah. So listen, I'm long Tesla going into battery day. I could see myself theoretically selling some calls for 24 hours on my position, something I might live to regret. Right?
Have that stock called away from you and have to pay the huge taxes on it? That's my risk on writing covered calls.
Ooh,
I'm not going to do that, but I might sell some cash secured puts.
Ooh,
that would be my play. If you want to get fancy with options, and I barely get fancy, but that would be,
I never do that.
That would be my income generating play for Tesla. Is I'm willing to buy more Tesla, especially if it went down, and I would take some of the premium right off the table if it stays where it is or goes up.
Yeah. All right.
What about you guys? Do we want to move on to Ask Us Anything? I think we have a lot of people in the live chat.
Yeah, I want to say something to all of our chatters too. By the way, I
have to take a break real quick.
Oh wow! Let's do that before. Let's do that before the show.
No, we've got somebody. I've got somebody working on Adrian's car, and they just finished, so I've got to go.
Oh, okay. I wanted to say thank you for the kind words in Discord this weekend. We've all had quite a run in so many stocks since February. One of them being Peloton. I was on the Peloton board for a minute. By the way, we have 50 Ask Dumb Money questions that we have to respond to, Dave, in Discord that I've been so busy this last week I haven't had a chance to get to yet.
Yep, I tried to do a few, but I'm also
we deeply appreciate the gratitude, and I want to say that we have just as much gratitude for what you guys have been doing in Discord. I would not have had the year that I had without some of the intelligence that's being shared in our Discord group. And to all you Peloton traders in the Peloton channel, man, what a year. And I'm on that channel every single day, and I just love the intelligence coming out of it. And Dave, I just checked my account. You know how much money I've made in Peloton? I've made I think $2.3 million in Peloton since February.
I can't believe that. See, okay? I had Peloton briefly, but I'm not as much of a believer as you are, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with earnings. That's coming up in a couple weeks?
Yeah, it's coming up next week, the September 10th, I think.
Should we live stream that one?
September 11th is my birthday, so Peloton cannot let me down.
Is it on your birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't celebrate my birthday, but I kind of, when I saw how much money I made, and I saw the intelligence on that Discord channel and how much I'm benefiting from it personally, because I'm probably benefiting from it, quite honestly, more than anyone else in our Discord. I wanted to do something for the community. And tell me if this is a crazy idea. What if I bought a Peloton bike for someone in our community? But I was figuring out how to do this.
Oh, you should absolutely do that. That would be amazing.
I just want to buy a bike. I want to like have a little excitement around it, because I could lose a lot of money on earn. If I lose $1 million on Peloton come earnings, I no longer want to buy a bike. I know it sounds cheap, but like I'm not going to be in the state of mind to buy a bike.
Well, so let's base it on earnings.
So, but I don't want to be greedy either. So, like, what if we said what was I thinking? Like, all right, Peloton has earnings next week. As long as Peloton stock goes up 1 penny, the day after earnings, like if it closes,
so from the close the day before earnings until the close the day after earnings,
close after the day earnings.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it goes up at least 1 penny, right, the day after earnings, I would buy a Peloton bike for someone from the Dumb Money community. I don't know how we're going to figure out how to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, what we'll do, we'll figure out a way to do it. But I think that basically you'll just need to let us know that you are in on this little competition, and we'll pick a winner.
We'll figure out. So we'll tweet something out, right, Jordan? What I decided was I am up $2.3 million. I'm up $2.3 million in Peloton since February, and wow. I want to do something for our Dumb Money community to kind of give back, because they have contributed so much intelligence to my Peloton trading. So if Peloton goes up even 1 penny on earnings next week, I'm going to buy a Peloton for someone in the Dumb Money community. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to buy a Peloton for someone in the community. And Dave, I'll do even more than that. I will also pay for 1 year of Peloton subscription.
Oh yeah, you have to, because otherwise it's just an expensive bike.
You have to, yeah.
All right, so I'll buy a Peloton bike, plus I will buy a 1 year subscription for someone in the Dumb Money community, as long as Peloton goes up 1 penny on earnings.
Okay, we will tweet something. So follow us on Twitter. Follow at Dumb Money TV on Twitter. You can also follow at Chris Camillo, at Jordan McLean, at Dave Hansen. We'll put those on the screen if I can just pull up a.
Oh yes, someone's asking, we'll have to figure out a way to randomly pick this person. So it's a giveaway. We'll figure out a way to randomly pick someone from the community, but you're going to have to do something, right? Like you're going to have to like tweet out something.
We'll post something on our official Twitter account, and you'll share that and tag something so that we know that that's an entry, and that way we can find it. So just follow us on Twitter. And we'll talk about this again once we actually figure out how we're going to do this. But we're going to do it based on earnings, which is September 11th, Chris's birthday. And somebody out there is going to win a Peloton and the bike service. Am I qualified? Can I win?
Peloton on my birthday.
I mean, I actually don't want one, but.
So that will be the Dumb Money birthday surprise. On my birthday, I will give away a Peloton.
That's awesome. Now, I'd love that idea. So cool.
And 1 year service. And by the way, if we get like a big reaction from this and it goes really well, I'm not opposed to doing this for other stocks too. You can get a Montclair jacket if Montclair goes up 1 penny on earnings, or
are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. What if I can't wait for Tesla earnings so that you can buy me a Tesla.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, so that's it, guys. That's what I'm going to do. And the bottom line is, Jordan, we were thanking the community because like they have been so amazing in our. How do you get to that Discord channel, Dave? Again,
if you go to dumbmoney.tv/Discord, you'll get to the invite page. And if you're already on Discord, you just click the Dumb Money link in the sidebar.
Well, since we're talking about links, can we also say that we're almost out of books? But if you want a free book, I will mail this out for free. My old book from 10 years ago, Laughing at Wall Street. Just go to dumbmoney.tv/book.
Yes.
And just, you have to live in America, though, because it's too expensive for me to mail them anywhere else. I have a couple hundred left. So if you want one, go there like right now, request it. And I'll mail it out. My buddy's mailing them out literally this week.
And as long as we're giving out links, I also wanted to give a shout out to someone who tweeted a picture of him wearing our merch. It was awesome. So this is Darren Rust and his friend and us in the background, and there's a Dummy shirt. Cruiser's got a Cruise shirt, and he has your book. Like, it's all in one picture there. Isn't that amazing?
Love it.
Dude, that is so cool.
So if you happen to, want something with our logo on it, and by all means, we're not trying to make money off of this. We have the prices set as low as we can. dumbmoney.tv/merch. Tag us on Instagram. You can @tag at dumbmoneytv. You can hashtag dumbmoneytv. We'll find these. We'll throw them on the show from time to time. But thank you, Darren. We appreciate it.
Leon has been giving out free, he gives out free merch every month to people that have been contributing to the Discord community and surfacing great opportunities and contributing to the research. Just a few people every month. He's sending out free Dumb Money merch. And we're going to continue to work with Leon, our admin, and our old co-worker at Ticker Tags. Thank you, Leon, for everything that you've done. Thank you for the other admins that are in our channel and our interns and everyone that's been contributing. Bullish, you guys have been helping a lot the last few weeks on our editing of our new short shows. How cool have they been? Oh, we have another one coming out today we should talk about.
We do have anher one coming out today. I haven't actually even seen it yet. And
before we get to that, I need to address something that I saw in the comments.
Yes.
People were saying that I painted my nails. I didn't paint my nails. Look, I've got...
Shave your legs.
I do shave my legs. I can't even get it to focus, but I slammed my finger in the glove compartment of my boat, and I think the fingernail's going to fall off. So, rest in peace, fingernail.
That's
still that really hurts. Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
You're talking about we do have another show coming up on the Dumb Money original channel, and I think it's Gold versus Bitcoin. I think it's a Would You Rather.
Okay, yeah. There'll be another one of these awesome, highly edited, ridiculously crazy 8-minute videos that we really need you guys to watch later today. So if you would go to our primary youtube.com/dumbmoney old school channel, we're going to be putting that up there today. So please give it a thumbs up when it airs.
That's awesome. Now, we also we have so much to talk about today. I also wanted to talk about the trading the news, because there's so many headlines right now that might have a trade, and I haven't really even thought through it yet, but I think this is a good time for us to talk about it. This TikTok deal could happen, they're saying, in the next 24 hours. We don't know if it's Microsoft and Walmart and Oracle and Microsoft, McDonald's, I don't know. Could be Jack in the Box wants to have it almost makes no sense, but
I'm just telling you, if Walmart owns this thing, doesn't that instantly make it not cool?
Or does it make it
not necessarily.
Does it make it a new shoppable platform? The way Instagram, you can buy things directly, and in China, the Chinese version of TikTok is the Chinese version, but there's another site that's kind of like a TikTok that is all like shopping, and you can watch little videos. And I was watching some of them. It's like mesmerizing. I could totally see people getting into a Shopified version of TikTok.
Yeah, in fact, did you see the Howard Lindzen tweet? Or he actually sent me that. I forwarded it to you guys. There's an article about shoppable video being the next big thing, and I'm totally bought in on that. And I think, listen, it could be TikTok. Will Walmart be able to pull it off? I doubt it. Do you remember what they did to Jet.com?
They're not the most innovative company.
Oh my gosh, guys! Walmart is where these companies go to die. It's just
Is Jet still operating? Do they?
No, I think they actually
they essentially closed it.
I think they just rebranded it as another extension of Walmart.
Is it now just Walmart.com?
I think so.
Yeah, but I think it was a huge failure. I think.
Somebody asked if the Tour de France will, because it's on right now, started on Saturday. Will that help out Peloton? I don't know. I mean, look, they're not advertising from what I've seen on NBCSN like they have in years past, and actually their competitors are advertising during the Tour de France. So, yet to be seen.
Yeah. I don't know. The TikTok thing, I don't have an easy way to play it, guys. I sold my... I was going to trade Microsoft on that, but now that it's not a pure play with Microsoft, I'm not even sure it matters too much.
Do you have... You own Microsoft, right?
I don't even know if I still have mine. I might have sold it. Guys, I have so much stuff. I can't even keep up anymore.
Would you? I would totally buy a screen protector if I got to see it demonstrated like this, though.
Dave, I am so long on shoppable video. Can we please do a standalone segment on shoppable? We have got to we need to invest in startups in this space. Like, I don't know who we're investing in, but we got to figure this out because I'm all in on it.
Did we ever invest in that one shoppable video company where they remember that, Chris? What did they do? They like took old TV shows and then
I mean she does like 10 outfit changes in 60 seconds, and isn't that like the perfect way to sell clothing?
Dave, it is. It's genius. It's absolutely genius. Is the best way to do this through investing in Facebook, maybe? Because think about it. I mean, if shoppable video becomes a thing, that's something that, Instagram is going to control and own, right? And TikTok too, quite honestly. Yeah. So maybe there is but it's not about Walmart. Like, there's no reason for Walmart to have any part in that. There just really isn't, because it's like,
it needs to be open. It needs to be anyone can sell anything, and it needs to be more of a platform. It needs to be an Amazon. Amazon should be buying TikTok or developing their own.
I totally agreed. Why didn't Amazon buy TikTok? They don't need more government attention. That's
exactly what it is.
I love it, though. I think Facebook is potentially the best way to trade that. Just thinking about it. But what else is going on in the news, Dave? Anything that's tradable? This is tradable. I just can't figure out the trade.
I'm just sorry. I'm fascinated by buying things on.
I am too.
I would if I could download this app. It looks just like TikTok, or maybe that is TikTok. Maybe that's Chinese TikTok. But it then links through to this shopping platform. Like, right?
That doesn't interest me at all. It seems like.
Are you kidding me?
Like, it's just so boring.
Jordan, when
I'm watching ads, basically. It's like a whole video full of ads.
You are, but as you're scrolling mindlessly through TikTok, if occasionally one was someone who's putting on outfits and you got mesmerized by it, and you're like, oh yeah, well, I would totally buy that shirt.
I've never been mesmerized by outfits. I wear a t-shirt and basketball shorts every day.
No,
but you're not the customer.
Problem.
I know.
Chris and I are the customer.
Yeah, they're professionalizing. Basically the sharing of shoppable video, right? And anybody could potentially do it and start getting credit for it. So like you're going to see fashion influencers.
Pinterest.
Videos
Drew said that's already shoppable pictures. Pinterest would have been a good acquirer. I don't know that they could afford it, but Pinterest teaming up with a Oracle or something, that would be.
Pinterest in the news, by the way.
What?
Remember that? They paid $84 million to cancel their San Francisco office space.
Oh, really?
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
smart move. I get it. I think there's more of that to come. So that would be, guys, I was shorting that commercial office REIT, and I got scared and I covered my short, but now that makes me want to get back into that.
When we were talking about Green Place, like companies like CBRE have exposure to revitalizing old buildings and doing the consulting and doing all the stuff to bring an old building up to scale, but they also have so much exposure to commercial real estate that I would stay away from that one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to find what is a company that would take an old building and renovate it, right? And they are one, but they're just not a pure play enough. What about these stock splits? I mean, we talked about it early on in the show, but Apple and Tesla completely rallying on the split today. Who is next? Could we get a bump out of Amazon or Google or Chipotle by them announcing a split? And do you see them doing it?
Dave, this is my favorite subject right now. I'm so glad you brought it up. I'm obsessed with wanting to front run stock splits. So yes, 100%. I think the stock split front run trade is probably the most important trade that anyone could look at right now, because it is close to risk free. Right? I mean, you just have to You have to pick some of these companies.
They're companies you would want to be in anyway.
Find the ones with these elevated share prices, like you said. Chipotle is what, over like $1,200 or something like that. Amazon's
Google's over
$3,000.
1,500.
Yeah.
The question,
even Netflix
is,
at over 500. If Netflix did a 5-for-1 and got it back down to 100, the retail consumers would be jacking that thing back up.
So the question is this, guys: do you pick a selection of these stocks that are likely to announce stock splits, or do you do scenario modeling for who these stocks are likely to be, but then wait, and maybe set up some Google alerts, right, for stock split plus
who makes the decision on this stuff, by the way? Is it the board? Does the board make the stock split decision? Yeah,
of course. So that has to be made. So what you can do is you can see when those meetings are happening, when they're likely to announce. It could be at an annual meeting. It could be or a post-annual meeting. It could be, usually they are done at annual meetings.
Both of these were done during their quarterly earnings reports.
But I would say this: I think there's so much momentum on the stock split, it makes me sick to talk about this because we all know it's a market neutral event, and there's no reason for these stocks to go up. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I would invest after. Even if the stocks pop on the news, I would still pour into them because I think they're going to pop even more in the coming days and weeks after. We saw what happened with Apple. We saw what happened with Tesla. I see no reason why this wouldn't continue for at least the next 6 to 9 months. Okay, guys? I am absolutely 100% going to be laser focused on front-running stock split for the next year.
I had CNBC on earlier today, and I took a picture with my phone of this chart that they put together, this graphic. This is the Apple performance of their prior stock splits. So they're a company that has a history of stock splits. They haven't done one in forever, but there is some history there. So we actually have seen that the 3 months before they've had a huge run up, and the 3 months after they are higher relative to the S&P, which they're a huge component of the S&P. So it's hard for them to actually beat the S&P because they move the S&P. But anyway.
Yes.
Thank you, guys, CNBC and Morgan Stanley for doing the research.
By the way, guys, no need to spend money to get your comments up. I feel so bad when I give those attention because we're not in this for the money, so we don't want the money of your comments. But we'll do S&E analysis. I promise on Sony before the PS5 comes out. Absolutely. And yes, David, I'm not going to sell my TPI. My TPIC has went down a lot in the last hour. So, I'm embarrassed. Okay.
I'm glad I didn't immediately jump in that one.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter too much to me.
This is a November trade for you, right? You're getting in now because of what may happen in November.
Yes.
And it wasn't a huge position, but it's all about transparency. You talk about the winners and the losers.
I hear someone saying that John Cena had an interesting idea about a disaster trade, propane. Ticker's SPH. I'll mark it down, guys, and we'll talk about it in the next show. I get it. Propane. The generator trade that we have. I don't even know what SPH is, but
Suburban Propane Partners.
Okay, so the generator trade, guys. Can we pull up a Google Trends chart on propane, Dave, and see if it's up?
Yeah. First, here's the Suburban Propane Partners stock chart year to date. They have not really recovered. Just some momentum. They're not in an upswing type position.
This just seems like an odd that they wouldn't recover, right? I mean, I can't see people using less propane unless it's industrial use or something like that.
But Jordan, there are so many people on generators in Iowa right now, West Coast, that you would think that propane is up. So I'm kind of confused.
So this is 5 years worldwide.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm going to go to US up right now. That's pretty unusual right there, right? I mean,
it just seems to be
up. I mean, it's not normally up mid in the summer either, so that's I'll look into it, guys. That's a good one. That's interesting. There might be something there. But listen, front running stock splits, easy money, right? Easy money. I mean, it never is, but it certainly seems like it, doesn't it? that we can get behind this next stock split, whatever it is. And Amazon, how great would it be if Amazon pulled the stock split?
Oh my gosh.
In our Discord channel, we now have a sub-channel called Stock Splits, Stock-Splits. Awesome. So you'll be able to chat all about that on Discord, dumbmoney.tv/Discord to get invited before we lock it down. At some point, we might have to just to keep the or make like OGs, or you have to contribute to a certain level before you get allowed into a certain section or something. But there's so much good conversation going in there.
Yeah, and guys, by the way, we can't possibly do all this research just ourselves, right? And so while we will, we'll deep dive into a stock here and there, the point of the community is, I mean, you guys have been doing what we've been doing now for at least 6 months, 5-6 months. There are a host of people in our Discord that can do this, as well as we can. So we just kind of take turns with due diligence. We all contribute to it. We all extract value from it. There's a guy talking about this company, Nolan Antonucci, Sequential Brands, who makes Heelys and also dumbbells and kettlebells. Talking about that TikTok episode we did about roller skates. He thinks they can be. It sounds like a penny stock to me. I'll check them out. I've never heard of them. But
have you read
I just marked
Heely?
It down. Heelys, Heelys, man.
You know Heelys, those roller skates that pop out of your shoes.
Yeah. No, dude, that's the last thing I need. But
what's the name of the company? I will look them up.
It is. I marked them down. SQBG. SQBG. When I mark them down, guys, it means I'll research them after the show.
Whoa.
Man,
that's their 5-year chart.
That is painful.
Are they doing anything year to date?
Oh, that's a weird chart.
That's a weird chart.
Wow. I bet they got can you pull their market cap? Are they a penny stock?
Yeah, their market cap's over here. They are. They're $9 million company.
Oh, what? Come on, guys.
A $9 million company. No, 10. You got to round that up.
Yeah, 9.999. They're a $10 million.
We can't. I'm not going to look.
I'm not even touching them.
Spend too much time on that. I make a trade and I immediately got to file with the SEC because I have 5% of the company. No way. I go to sell out. It takes me like 6 months to exit my position.
It'll take you 6 months to get in the position.
I'm ready for Amazon to make that 10-for-1 stock split they're talking about in the live chat.
Yeah,
I'm all about that. And that's the thing. I'm not going to buy companies that are high priced that I wouldn't want to be in anyway. But if I want to be in them anyway, and you think there's a possibility, even if it's a remote possibility, that they're going to have an announcement at their next earnings, might be a little incentive to hold it.
Yeah, but people are starting to talk about Generac again in our notes. Guys, we're deep in Generac, and I agree. Obviously, we know Generac is way up. We're going to have a standalone episode on Generac. We called. If you guys didn't watch our last show, you got to watch it. We're going to do a standalone kind of carve out the next week where we kind of show the interview that we did with a generator salesperson that was live on our show. That was a lot of fun. We got some great intelligence on Generac there. They're killing it. But Prote, most people that have generators, they're not for whole home generators. They're kind of going to natural gas.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of emergency generators that are all on propane right now, all across Iowa, California.
That was one of the big stories in the news this morning is all of the power outages, the water outages in Louisiana after the hurricane. And the power is expected to take months to restore, not weeks, months. Which blows my mind. And
but Dave,
if you didn't have a generator or the ability to get natural gas to run that generator, which I looked on the utility website just to see what the outage looked like, and it is really bad in like 2 areas of Louisiana, including natural gas outages. So, Chris, your house that has its backup Generac that is tied into the natural gas line, in a hurricane, in a real disaster, you might not have natural gas, although that might come back before the electricity. So that's crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, for a lot of people, it's it's just having a backup. You have a higher probability of having one of the two than having one of one. So it's having that backup choice.
Yeah.
By the way, we haven't gotten a chance to talk about our HP win last week. What a win it was, guys. Man, I can't believe how good that thing turned out. I made over $70,000 on that tiny little printer trade. and it was, man, I love that it worked out. I would have been almost embarrassed if it didn't, because we hyped it so much. We were so excited about it. Are you still in H? I sold mine, Jordan. I'm out. Are you still in?
I've got it.
You're keeping it. Why? Just out of curiosity. Why?
Man, I think they're fine. I think they'll be fine over the next year. Hopefully I can get a long-term capital gain out of it.
Oh, well, that's a long time to own Hewlett Packard.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ooh. Well,
I'll be earning that fat 3.5% dividend along the way, though.
I will give you this, Jordan. They announced like $1 billion a quarter buyback. I've read somewhere that's like 4% of the market cap every quarter. So they're going to buy back 16% of the company over the next year. That certainly kind of maybe puts a floor on the stock, kind of a soft floor. I wouldn't, not a hard floor, but a soft.
I'm going to keep it. I could get rid of it, or I could keep it. I don't know.
Their market cap right now is $28.2 billion. So how much did you say that buyback is?
$1 billion a quarter is what I heard. I could be wrong. That's not firsthand data, but a bunch of people are talking about it. That's crazy. Listen, I was in it purely for the social arb trade, and once that information was fully disseminated and hit what we like to call information parity, I had to get out of the trade. That's my methodology. I try to stick to it to the best of my ability, and so I'm out. But I love that I have to buy a $400 printer for my kid's school, but I made 70-something thousand playing HP. So now I no longer feel bad every time I look at that printer. I no longer feel stupid that I had to spend that much money on a printer, because they're so expensive right now. You can't get the cheap ones.
One other news item that caught my eye was United Airlines announcing they're getting rid of all of their change fees on everything except for their absolute cheapest tickets, and also allowing free same-day standby flights, similar to what like Southwest does. Trying to get people to fly.
It's going to cost some money, though, right, in the short term. But I guess they don't have a lot of tickets to deal. Right there,
there's not a lot. Anything it takes to get someone to buy a ticket and feel confident in buying that ticket, knowing that if they need to change it, they can. That's what I think is going on here.
Yeah, man, I generally kind of like it. I like it, but I'm not trading it. I think it's good long term for the industry. I still think we have a high probability, guys. Speaking of tradable news, have you seen some of the numbers coming out on the on the virus from some of these universities? They're really starting to accelerate, and I wasn't even expecting to see acceleration this quickly. I think if we fast forward a month, we could start to see the signs of a true second wave, right? Month or two, maybe 6 weeks from now. And that could start to have major implications on trading this fall. So that's something.
Well, if you look at some of the charts, like the charts just of nationwide or state level, regional level, they kind of stopped dropping last week. And actually, this Sunday was 1,000 across the nation higher than it was last Sunday. Yeah, so it's kind of
you have opposing forces.
It's not drop. It's kind of
I've seen totally. the universities are having these. Big surprise, we're having a little outbreak on campus, but then the numbers overall are going down, and we have the good news on, we're pushing even more things into, further along in trials so that we can perhaps have a therapeutic or a antidote. What's it called? Why is my brain not working this morning?
Antivirus.
So that maybe Norton antivirus will be able to just work it all out. Oh my gosh. I don't know. My brain's
you mean a vaccine, Dave? You're talking about a
vaccine? That's the word I could not come up with. What's wrong with me?
Oh man,
you sound like me right now. That's something.
We're hitting the 1.5 mark, so I can tell that you didn't have your spreadsheet open with our little with our rundown time sheet going today. So that's why we just blew past any kind of chance of being on time with our schedule.
How do we condense the entire green trade that covers 6 different sectors in 10 minutes? 12. There's no way. That was never going to happen.
Well, luckily we extended it to 30, and then we did 10 minutes on battery day, and then we've just been randomly talking about anything people wanted to talk about in the live chat and whatever came to mind.
Well, it's a Monday, and we're getting off to a slow start, and I was a little sluggish, but there's a lot to talk about. And by the way, I do want to start getting on the virus trade again. Jordan, I think the data is going to get really interesting in the next 6 weeks, and that helps companies like Peloton, Amazon, Shopify, of course, all the players, and potentially it's going to start to hurt some of the the brick and mortar
6 weeks, man. I think like 2 to 3 weeks, because you're going to see a lot of the public schools go back, especially in Texas here. Is it this week or next week that I think it's next week they're going to start going back. And so, 2 weeks from then you could see an explosion.
But Jordan, it takes time after they go back, right? They'll take 2-3 weeks after
they get back.
That's
what I'm saying, like 2 weeks. So I'm thinking like 2-3 weeks, we could see some numbers.
Maybe. I think it's going to be like 5 to 6 weeks, but we'll see. Maybe. Hey, Dave, someone's asking about Airbnb, Nick Lee, Airbnb IPO. For those of y'all that don't know,
yes.
Dave was the smart one here who actually invested in Airbnb a couple of years ago privately. I did not, and now I totally regret it, Dave. Nice move. Congratulations. You're going to kill it on this IPO.
Why didn't I invest? Oh, I know why I didn't invest, because I saw all the municipalities starting to ban Airbnb, right? And so
Me too, Jordan.
It was an unknown. There are a lot of unknowns.
Yeah,
but it worked.
I didn't see that was why coming in and forcing people out of hotels and into Airbnbs, though. So,
but Jordan and I both enjoy staying in Airbnbs. Chris has always had a aversion to trying out an Airbnb, but I believe this most recent trip you took, wasn't that a Airbnb or a VBRO? It was something that wasn't a.
I love Airbnbs. My aversion is staying in like a room of someone's house. I'm totally fine in staying in like a rental home when the whole thing's mine.
Yeah, well, Airbnb does have like shared room type accommodations, but I would always filter for entire place. That's the first thing I do.
I'll tell you what's weird though. So what I used to do, like when we went to A&M to go watch football games, we would rent on game day housing, which is basically like professors that then rent out their house for the weekend, and that's really weird because you're staying like in some dude's bedroom. It's super weird.
Oh my God, Jordan! When I worked for Cars Direct and I had to go manage a New York office for like 6 weeks, they put me in some random we acquired a car dealership in Manhattan, and someone's niece had an apartment, and she just moved in with her friend, and I moved into her place. It was so disgusting. It was like her stuff was on the floor still. It was just, this is pre-Airbnb, right? There was no such thing. And I was just like, I couldn't do it. The pipes were rattling all night. I was just, dude, I don't know how people do that.
That was back when it was called couch surfing, as it says here on in our chat. I think there was a website where you could do that. But pre-Airbnb, you could actually go onto like Craigslist or something and find places to couch surf for the night.
So not safe.
Well, Airbnb is just a fancy VRBO.
Yeah. Guys, we'll do an IPO episode soon too, because there's a lot of IPOs coming. And by the way, we have one that I'm super excited about. Unity has filed to
we are also private investors in that.
Unity years ago, and I think we're going to crush it in Unity. I bet we make 3 to 4 times our money with that Unity IPO. That's the one I'm probably looking forward to most the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We definitely should do
by the way, I do want to address this.
Because
Vista Outdoors and some of the gun stocks have been pulling back a little bit. Someone said, and I do want to address that. I did not sell any of my Vista Outdoors. I'm not planning to sell it because I think the pullback coincided with Trump momentum. So obviously Trump's had some momentum in the last couple of weeks, which is a net negative for gun stocks and ammo stocks like Vista Outdoors. Listen, we'll see how things pan out over the next few weeks. That's one of the stocks I'm going to move into the charitable foundation, so I didn't want to sell it quite yet and pay taxes on all those gains. But I think they'll come back. I think gun stocks right now, all my data is showing that demand is as high as it's been all summer. It has not slowed down at all. So I'm not cashing out yet.
And when it
how do we get in the IPOs early? Dave, what was the name of the episode that they can watch to figure that out? We did a standalone episode on how we invest in
there was
IPOs.
an episode, and I believe it was called Investing in Pre-IPO Companies or something like that. It's
on our primary Dumb Money channel, not Dumb Money Live, guys. So
Dumb
go watch
Money.
it there.
It's a picture, I think, of me and Chris in the front seat of his car with a green bar across our face that says, like, in investing in pre-IPO. Something like that.
Yes. Rashad Arbab. So how close are y'all to being billionaires? Not close. But it's on my radar. I just want to let you know it's on my radar.
It's on your radar.
I don't want to say me personally being a billionaire because I have no intentions to ever have more money than I have today. But with the charitable foundation, my goal is to grow that to $100 million in the next 10 years. And then at some point, when I hit that $100 million mark, my eyes will be on the $1 billion mark for the charitable foundation. So I think it's not out of reach that we could grow the assets that we built into $1 billion. It just might not be under my personal name or Jordan's or Dave's. We're all kind of doing stuff like this at varying points in the future.
I'm probably not far from starting my charitable foundation either. Just almost.
So, and we'll talk about that more in a future show, guys. It's not up yet, but we will talk about it. Mine's going live in the next probably week. So that's it, Dave. We're on now in an hour and a half, and I feel like we need to move on and start preparing for Thursday, which is a super intimate episode that no one really wants to miss. We have a lot of surprises, right, in store. Some old footage.
Yes, I found a few old clips that we will be running in their entirety, and you're going to get to see Chris and I when we were like 19 years old, making a video about Chris buying garage sale junk for profit.
Yes. If you want to understand how we got here, Thursday's episode is the episode for you. But we have a lot of work to do between now and then. So for today, thanks for watching. Do the podcast. Do all the things.
You do the wrap up. I do want to show before we go. I wanted to show.
I never listened to you when you
I wanted to show the.
I think we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast. What is it like? All that stuff,
yes.
Right? Go to our Instagram.
Follow
our
us on
Twitter
Instagram.
Accounts.
We're at Dumb Money TV on Instagram and at Twitter at Dumb Money TV. You can also follow us on. I almost forgot that Facebook even existed, but we have a page on Facebook that we occasionally do something on. As a matter of fact, I forgot. I always forget to push the button to tell people that we are live. So I'm just gonna push the button that says, "Go watch us." At some point. But yeah, we're on those. We have this replay of this will be available as a podcast on all of your favorite platforms. Subscribe.
Gold versus Bitcoin. Don't forget to watch it today, right? Gold versus Bitcoin.
It's a new episode. I just checked and it is not yet posted, but it will be up this afternoon. So check out youtube.com/dumbmoney for gold versus Bitcoin. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are Dumb Money. We will see you with that very special episode on Thursday.